Hi there, welcome to the I Ching Cafe. My name is Belinda Dubston, and it is wonderful that you are here with me for our weekly I Ching overview for the week commencing the 18th of December, 2023. Right, let's have a quick look. Recap last week. What was the I Ching asking us to pay attention to? And do you remember that Hexagram 21, biting through, okay, the old dried leather stuck in the mouth, and that changing line that came to say, well, when you bite down into that old tired leather to bite through the thing that's obstructing nourishment, you find some poison. And as we worked with that, we worked with shining brightly in Hexagram 30, radiance, expanding our view, illuminating our world, getting clarity, seeing things at a much broader perspective because we have bit through that obstacle. So for you, what was the obstacle you were wrestling with in your teeth this past week, right? What was the poison, the toxin, the hidden issue that needed to be brought out into the open and expelled, even if it was uncomfortable? And then how did that broaden your view and give you a bigger perspective on something that was really important to see? Thank heavens I pre-recorded last week's episode ahead because, lo and behold, I got hit with flu and a chest infection. And as I was lying there feeling very, very sorry for myself, I thought about last week's hexagram in the midst of this peak of this thing. And I thought, oh my goodness, here it is, biting through. There's an obstacle. It was all in my throat and my upper chest. And here was this thing blocking me from nourishment. And then I thought to myself, but there's poison. That's what the changing line says. And that got me to go to see the doctor, which anyone who's close to me knows it takes me a hell of a lot of effort to pull myself together to go and see a doctor. And I did because I thought, there's infection here, there's poison. Let me go and get some antibiotics. And I came back with this whole medical kit of all kinds of things and felt better pretty soon thereafter. So for me, I experienced this weekly overview very, very physically. And of course, it's up to each of us to work with hexagrams in the way that they present themselves to you in your life. Lots of people close to me had these hexagrams and changing lines appear in other forms, not so physical. But for me, there was just such a beautiful biofeedback of working with this hexagram and the changing line last week, where I literally lay there and I thought, there's poison. Okay. This is a symbol. This is what I'm biting through this week, okay? I'm biting through something that is preventing my nourishment, and I'm also biting through my consciousness that puts off going to see a doctor right at the last minute where things are really, really bad, and there's poison. Maybe the I Ching is talking to me about my physical health this week, and so that's what I went and did. So thank heavens there was an episode in the stash, because otherwise there would have been no episode last week at all. So yeah, really, really interesting to work through that from my perspective. And if there's anything that came up for you, that old piece of leather and the toxins that you were biting through last week, please do share your own stories of how you worked with them. It's amazing how we learn from each other and we build up this rich catalog of symbols and experiences to make sense and bring the symbolism of the I Ching into our personal world. Like a mirror, it puts up that mirror and reflects back to us a symbol. And then within our lives, we see that symbol resonated with a particular area we're needing to focus on. And I trust that that brought a lot of insight to you last week. Okay, so getting into this week. What are we being asked to pay attention to the 18th of December as we work with this week? Come very close to the end of the year. Our first hexagram is a beautiful hexagram. Fantastic. It's hexagram 35, progress. Wow, we thought we were all going on holiday. Well, there's a bit of a holiday hexagram coming in the second part of today's episode, but there's still something here we are doing. All right, now, looking at the structure, you see fire on the top triagram and earth on the bottom triagram, the image of the sun rising above the earth. Think of the sunrise. Initially, there's a little bit of light, and then with very gentle progression. All right, the sun, or rather we move, and the sun rises, okay, and it gets warmer and warmer and warmer and clearer and clearer and clearer throughout the day. That is the story of progress. Gentle, beautiful progress that cannot be stopped. We cannot stop this process of the sun coming up in the morning. It's I'm sure, something that has got many of us through a difficult day, where you go to sleep at the end of a day and you've been through a really, really difficult time of the day and you think, you know what? Tomorrow the sun will come up. Okay. It's that kind of idea. You can't stop this progress. It's just happening. But what we can do is we can maximize its benefit for us. So as we work with this idea of progress, we might find there's different facets of this progress we touch into. There might be something specific for you in this week where you're being drawn to progress that's needing to be made, progress that we can hook our hat on, that we can hold on to the edge of that sunbeam and be pulled up into the sky to observe that progress, that gradual progression and the wonderful energy it brings. And perhaps also as we get to the end of the year, I also feel with this hexagram this week, it might give us an opportunity to reflect back on the massive progress. So sometimes we make progress, right? But we don't really complete the progress process until we actually can see just how much has been accomplished. And so perhaps for you, it's a retrospective, right? You're looking back on the year. You're looking back on something that's been culminating. Perhaps you and your team have been working relentlessly over this year or over the last quarter, however long, on something really important. And here as we reach the end of 2023, the end of the work year for many, we can see that culmination. We can see, wow, look at this gentle progress that's been happening, that we've been stuck in the detail and doing what we can. But actually, when we just step back for a moment, we can see the beauty and the radiance that has come because the sun has come up and it has shone its bright light upon everything. So perhaps it's retrospective. Perhaps you realize and just take a moment in your reflections this week. What has been achieved? And perhaps there's more for you to do as you step into and lean into this progress energy. Okay, gentle, flowering perfusion. Okay, it's this beautiful like culmination of the flower opening up. The scent of that rose blossom opening up, or a flower opening up and dispersing its seeds like the pine cone. It's like it's just opening up this gentle process of like, wow. And that is how we need to embrace the energy this week. We open up, okay, like the sun, we open up and we give. This energy really brings us blessings if we can share it, okay? If we can lean down and put that light down on somebody else who's needing a bit of vitamin D, okay? So it's about how we give and how we contribute and how we open up and we let that shine. You know that song? This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine, okay? The earworm was free. But it's that idea of opening up and sharing that and creating a space where there's lots and lots of light, where there's progress. It's not a race. It's not hysterical progress or traumatic progress. It's just the way the sun comes up every day. It cannot be stopped. It cannot be slowed. It just is. And our task is just to embrace it and share it. Right, 2 changing lines this week in the 3rd and the 5th position. In the 3rd position, okay, some of you might be thinking, 3rd position, this is a trouble line. But actually this hexagram is so beautiful that this is not an issue at all. In line 3, this is really about others, about just accept a light. Open up to the light, okay? Reach out. Your cares will fall away. Share with others. This is really a line which talks very much around the crowd and the network and the group and the family and the kind of the clan that you sit in. Others, supporters, people who support you, people who work with you, people who are maybe report to you. But there's a very strong feeling with this line around the group that you shine light upon. Okay. Easy in a way to think about a business. Your team and your people are like your family that you're responsible for as a leader, and you are dependent on them, okay? Your ability to shine brightly, your ability for your business to shine brightly depends on them shining brightly and them being dedicated and loyal and supportive. And so as you support them, they support you, and there's an interdependence. If we are an ego, we can work with this line with a little bit of a negative energy of saying, well, I wish I could just achieve it on my own. Why do I need others to get somewhere. Okay. There's some work there to be done, right? It's about just accepting that as we shine and as we create space for our clan, all right, they reciprocate to us with loyalty and with support and with openness and with a beautiful feeling of energy. So as you work with this week, just lean into this, lean into accepting that there are people around you who are trying to help you, whether it's a business sense or personal sense. Share your light with others and be open, okay, and generous with yourself, because they are being open and generous with you. And that creates a wonderful cycle of energy to work with. Beautiful. The other changing line in the fifth position, of course, the fifth position is normally a very strong, stable line where it's almost like the combination of that energy, the epitome of the right use, the master's use of that hexagram. And of course, in position 5, it's very much that. It's about, the cares or sorrows, the things that plagued you, fall away. Don't worry about it. Lean into it. Give. Open up. Step into this energy. Work with this energy. There's something absolutely wonderful that's part of this process. And it's a very gentle energy. And you might find as you work with this changing line, there's a specific reference in the Richard Wilhelm edition to this idea of it being a very slow and gentle energy, not rushed, lots of very hectic. So there's opportunity around, and you might find that you feel a little bit down, that you haven't maximized every single moment, okay, got every single lead, every single deal, push, right to the finish line. There's a sense of just let that stress about that go. Just lean into the energy of the moment, okay? There are blessings. There have been blessings this year. Perhaps you'll see them this week. Perhaps it'll become visible to you what those are. But just be open and welcome the beautiful blessings. Isn't that wonderful? The progress. Well done, you. Progress that is there because you've worked hard and you've been in the trenches doing it, and perhaps not even realizing just how much you have achieved over the time that has passed. So those are our changing lines. Lovely energy. Okay, so where does it lead to? Where does all this light? Flowering. Okay, it leads into holiday mode. Okay, because we have Hexagram 33 retreat. Here we can now relax. We've had quite a hectic December. We've had lots of things happening, lots of energy. And remember, our monthly overview for December was not an easy one, right? Okay, Mary Maiden, big changes beyond your control. And we had Hexagram 38, opposition, resolving opposites. Okay, that's still ongoing. That's still stuff that we're working through. So it's been intense, right? December hasn't been a holiday month at all from a flow of change, but here we have a little reprieve. Here we have Hexagram 33 retreat, giving us permission to withdraw from the world, to take some time out, to recoup, regenerate, all the re-words you can think of, right? And just go within, pull back, and go into the cave, go into the dark, into the quiet, and recuperate. There's an opportunity as we work with this week, perhaps just leading up to Christmas, where it's pretty intense for most of us, is find ways of recuperating, going within. All right, so this is interesting, flowering expansion energy and a retracting energy. The symbol that comes to my mind of this is the flower that opens with daylight and closes with night. Okay, so it's almost like there's a sunlight and the flower opens. Okay, it does its job, the flower opens, the bees come, blah, 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 all the, the fertility and the progress, right? And then when it starts to get dark, the flower knows to close back up again. So it's that kind of idea I want to just sit with this week, for you to know yourself well enough to know what does it mean that in 1 week we have an opening, we have a culmination, we have a flowering of progress, and then we have closing. Okay, then we have the cave. What does that mean? What does that look like for you? And so that's a wonderful, very interesting 2 flows of change for us to work with this week as we get very close to the end of December, the end of 2023, which for many has been an exhausting, action-packed adventure. Everyone I speak to is feeling pretty shattered, so we have got hopefully some time to rejuvenate, and perhaps in 2024 we can work with finding ways of rejuvenating on a regular basis and not waiting the whole year for a holiday before we collapse in a heap, and then emerge at some point before work starts again in the next year saying, oh, what happened? I've only just started to recuperate. Let's find sustainable ways of putting our energy back in and staying in flow, which is what the I Ching is aiming to support us with. Thank you so much for staying with me for this episode. Really appreciate it. And next week is our last full weekly for December. And that means there's a monthly coming for Jan and a year overview for 2024. I better get busy, get ready for you so that we can look ahead to the new year, take some learning from the year finishing up, the year just passed, look ahead to 2024 and set our sights on what it is that we need to do to maximize our flow, our life, our experience in the year to come, and to give it horns, to give it all we have got while staying in flow. Thank you so much for being here with me. And if this was valuable, you know what to do. Thumbs up and a like. And of course, if you're new to the channel, subscribe or follow. It would be great to have you join us on the regular. And I look forward to seeing you soon at our next weekly episode.